This lesson is simplifying and comparing expressions with symbols of inclusion. It's lesson 7 in your book, and it's on pages 31 through 35. First, I need to know what symbols of inclusion are. Symbols of inclusion can include fraction bars, absolute value symbols, parentheses, braces, brackets, basically anything that tells you what items are part of the same term. They indicate what numbers, variables, and operations are part of the exact same term. In this example, we have an expression inside parentheses and then an expression outside parentheses. So inside the parentheses, we got 2x over 3 plus 3 1/5 minus 2y. Now, typically, without these parentheses, we would say that this is one term, this is another term, and this is a third term. But because these parentheses are around the outside of this is all included in the same term. The parentheses say everything here is included in the same term. When we simplify expressions, we always start at the innermost symbol of inclusion and work our way out. And all symbols of inclusion are counted as part of that parentheses part of our order of operations. Here we have a couple of expressions with absolute value symbols and parentheses. These are examples, so these need to be written down in your notes, and we want to simplify each of these expressions. So over here we've got 9 minus absolute value of 4 minus 6. Our symbols of inclusion are our absolute value bars right here. Those are our parentheses, basically, and we want to simplify those first. Everything outside those is going to stay the same. 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Now, once we've simplified inside them, we want to actually find out what the absolute value is. So again, we've got 9 minus the absolute value of negative 2, which is positive 2, unit 0 on the number line. Then we work through the rest of our order of operations. If there were any, we would do exponents and multiplication and division. But here all we have is subtraction, so we simply subtract. 9 minus 2 is 7. So the simplified form of this expression is 7. Over here we have multiple grouping symbols. We've got parentheses right here, and then we've got brackets also. When we do the P, part of our order of operations, parentheses, we also include brackets, and we want to start at the innermost set and work our way out. Now these parentheses are inside the brackets, so we're going to start with what's in these parentheses and work our way outward. Everything that's outside there is going to stay the same. 5 times 2 plus, and our bracket, 3 plus. And we'll simplify what's in the parentheses. 6 minus 8 is negative 2. All right, so we've simplified the innermost set of parentheses. Now we can move on to these brackets. Again, everything outside stays the same. 3 plus negative 2 is a positive 1. All right, that takes care of the parentheses step of the order of operations. Then we would go to exponents, but there aren't any here. Then we'd go to multiplication and division. So we've got 5 times 2, which gives us 10. And then finally, addition and subtraction. So we add 10 plus 1, and our answer is 11. All right, here we have another example. We've got some more brackets. We've got a set of parentheses here, and then we've got a set of brackets. But the parentheses are inside the brackets, so we need to start with simplifying what's in those parentheses. Everything on the outside is going to stay the same, so 3 plus 5 times the bracket there. Now we're going to simplify. 9 minus 3 gets me 6. And then I've got to do with my exponent up there, minus. Right, once I've simplified those inside parentheses, I can move on to the ones that are outside, these brackets. When I work within the brackets, I still have to follow the order of operations. So I have 2 operations inside these brackets. I've got an exponent and I also have subtraction. Exponents come before subtraction, so I want to square the 6 first before I can do my subtraction. Everything outside stays the same again. Now, 6 squared is the same as 6 times 6, 36. And then finally, I can do my subtraction, and these brackets will be simplified. So 36 minus 6 is 30. Now all my parentheses have been simplified, or all my grouping symbols, and I want to move on to exponents. There are no exponents in this expression, so then I move on to multiplication and division. So I'm multiplying 5 times 30. 3 plus will stay the same, and 5 times 30 is 150. Then I do my addition and subtraction last. 3 plus 150 is 153. All right, now we have another one, and it's simplifying with rational numbers. Now that really just means that we've got a fraction bar happening, and the fraction bar is actually a symbol of inclusion. So you could say the same as having parentheses here. Again, when we work with symbols of inclusion, we start from the inside and work our way out. So here we have parentheses inside a set of brackets. We want to work with the parentheses on the inside first. So we're going to keep those brackets. And we want to simplify. 4 plus 2 is 6. So we've got 6 squared. Plus, all right, now right here we have 4 times 5 over 2. Now, 4 times 5 over 2 can be said to be in parentheses, but this fraction bar also tells us that this is part of one expression, and then it gets divided by 2. So when we work this, we first want to multiply 4 times 5. 4 times 5 is 20. And then in our next step, we'll do our division, divide by 2. All right, so I work these parentheses on this side, and I get 6 squared. Now, inside the brackets, I still want to follow order of operations. My operations happening here are multiplication and exponents. In the order of operations, exponents come first. So we want to square the 6 before we multiply it by 5. There's my bracket 5 times. 6 squared is 6 times 6, which gives us 36. Plus, and now I can simplify this 20 over 2 out here and get 10. All right, now I can finish my brackets. 5 times 36 is 180. Now that all my grouping symbols are gone and my symbols of inclusion are gone, I can work my way through the rest of the order of operations, which is exponents. There are none. Multiplication and division. There aren't any here either. And then finally addition and subtraction. So 180 plus 10 gets me 190. All right, so a couple of things to remember in this lesson. It's really important to be careful and follow the order of operations, even when you're working inside the parentheses. Like here, I had to apply this exponent before I multiplied by 5. I don't want to multiply 5 times 6 and then square it. Exponents always come before multiplication. Also, in the last one, I had exponents before I had subtraction. Once you're finished with all the grouping symbols, you can then move on and finish the order of operations with exponents, multiplication and division, and addition and subtraction.